I'm just going to go through and quickly do what I think is probably the most important part of the quarterly, just to see where rolls happened. I'm sort of thinking, looking at this, yeah, we have had a bit of buying in Apple, but today in the quarterly we've had some selling, and we can see at the same time that we had selling in Apple during the quarterly, we had buying in something else. This is the mag I've got down here, and so before that we saw very similar. Above the line here, above the golden line, is selling. We saw quite similar selling apart from towards the end of the week. Apple also bought a lot harder, obviously earlier in the week than a lot of the other stocks did. Let's just have a look. We can see that a lot of the hedging has been held in Apple. Some quite a lot reduced today. About a third of the hedging has come off, and we can see that Apple's DPI has just dropped down to a very low level, which is, you know, we can probably look and see that it's rolled forward a lot. It's probably going to take a bit of a while to get some momentum back. Anyway, I'm just going to put it in. I think that it's gone from yesterday. I think that we were sitting at actually I don't think Apple was the only one I did, and I just put it in as amber. I was waiting for the OPEX to roll out, so we'd have to probably go to the Friday to see what I was saying about them on Friday. Apple was already sitting there, so I'll just record those things. So just getting into Tesla here. Tesla has seen some buying today, which is good to see. A little tiny bit into the close. The 15 minutes doesn't look anywhere near as good. The 15 minutes sees this selling continue, but it is starting to head down. So I think that we will start to look a little bit better in Tesla. One of the interesting things is, if we were looking at that 5 minutes, is that we saw this selling going through and we closed down, and because we've had such a strong positioning, we've risen up a little bit during the day. Let's just have a look at the hedging. The hedging's really being flattened there. It is a little bit stronger than yesterday, not a great deal. We've had a lot of buying of out of the money and some buying of in the money, so we're starting to rise again in that positioning. Again, it's had terrible DPI, very flat, very low. And again, it sees this quite heavy positioning, not as heavy as it was back before we started moving in September, but we have seen it held. We have seen those positions held. So we are starting a new long position here. This is delta hedging. We'll see when this comes off. It is sort of related to this flat period, but it's not going to squeeze it down. This low DPI is probably more of an issue. We want to see a bit more of a build. We have seen the hedging run with the price, but it has slowed down now. Just starting to have a look at Microsoft here. Microsoft has had a little bit of a buy going into the close on Monday. And Tuesday has been pretty flat most of the day. That buy has closed down, but has opened back up and or climbed back up during the day. I suppose looking at it, it's really a selling day with a little bit of a buy into the close. I don't know how strong that buy into the close really is going to affect us, but it's definitely there. Post, it said that it's knocked back quite a lot, but I think that's probably more to do with the Nasdaq pulling back post the market. If we go into the 5 minute, this is a little bit more obvious that this was a good buy or an alright buy into the close. Is it just price? I don't think that it's just reactive, and the reason that I don't think it's just reactive is we haven't really seen any gain in price discovery. It's just stayed pretty static. So I think that we can say that there is, after a selling day or a flat day, which the day has looked very similar to the Mag 7. Mag 7 is down here in the bottom. The Mag 7 sold into the close, but we've seen Microsoft buy into the close. So Microsoft has got a little bit more upside in it. Let's just have a look what Microsoft is doing. Microsoft's just got no hedging there at all. Not that it's had a huge buy, but it's had quite a lot of out of the money buy there. Let's just see what it says in the DPI, see whether it's got a continuum. Yeah, look, it does. It's just sticking with its price. Not that it was a huge price movement today, but it's definitely kept on going up. This is delta hedging. It's not really affecting. The heavy hedging came off around the 9th of the month. We started to see it come off, which is this bottom here. And since then we saw a good buy, and look, the DPI is pretty low. I suppose there's not a lot of buying in it, there's just less hedging in it. It's not a new accumulation position. So just getting into Google here. Google is reasonably heavy. The most notable thing is it's got very low DPI, which could just be hedging because it has come off a high. It tends to have low DPI. It's not obviously not a stock that is traded really heavily in over the counter. I don't even know if it's really a traded stock. It's very difficult to trade because it's got two classes of shares. Anyway, I'm just going to take an image of that. I don't actually know whether a low DPI actually gives us any idea. Maybe I'll just leave it. Let's just have a look. So the other thing with Google that we can see is our hedging has increased a little bit, and we've had a lot of out of the money calls. Now those could be open for the next leg up, but then if I quickly cross, I'll just take an image. I'll just take an image of that and download it. So here we've seen the increase in out of the money calls. In the money hedging and out of the money calls, suggesting we're going to see some more flat action. I'll just grab that, and then if I go and have a look at what's happening, we've gone through this flat section of some topping and some selling of those positions, or maybe just hedging of those positions. This does, this section here, people might say, oh look, the price seems to have risen, but if you actually look from where the price goes and comes to, this section is just another flat section. Today is a pretty nothing day. It really has just gone sideways. I don't see any price discovery from that. I'll just document that and we'll move on to Nvidia. So just going back through Google, Google was flat, not bought into the close, and we've had this topping period. We've had a slight increase in hedging here, in the money hedging. We've had a lot of out of the money calls open. Is that more selling? I don't know. It might just be rolling out for the new quarter in positioning. The longer dated positioning, we've had a lot of delta come off. I would say that this DPI is just hedging DPI, and at the moment we're just sitting in this lower position, which started on the 24th. After this we started dropping. I don't know whether that's all related, but if we went in close, we'll see that we are slowly going down in positions. We've gone down from 140, 141 back down to 138 in longs, and we bottomed at 96, and we had an extra sort of 50,000 deep in the money positions open today. So that's Google. I'll just report Google and just get on with this analysis. So just looking here at Nvidia. Nvidia did have a buy. We're right in the 5 minutes now looking at what Nvidia's doing. You can see that it's had a strong buy, which is just following through, but there was a little bit of a buy into the close yesterday, which was definitely on the green side, and then we've had a little bit of selling today, and then we've had some buying into the close. I mean, a lot of this was this big push here in the mags. This one is not so relevant. A little bit of it was some buying into the close that we saw on Monday. Today, the start of it was definitely, and it's followed up by more of just more of the same. I think that this is probably enough to say that we're going to get an update tomorrow. If we then have a quick look at the hedging position, just because of the movement, even though we've had hedging, it's really just delta hedging. There's no actual rise in hedging positions. There's a bit of a drop in longs, but not a great deal, so we'll probably expect to see DPI drop a little bit, and here we go, we've got DPI dropping a bit. Interestingly, DPI is just going down and down, so the positions were already held. Even though we've gone through this little period with a couple of bumps, it's almost a sideways blow off, and I expect that this will only get worse. Anyway, it'd be interesting if we start to see some building in the longs. Anyway, I'll just go and report that. I think it's, even though we're going to have a green day tomorrow, I think we're probably starting to see sideways. So just going to reiterate, with Meta, we've had this sideways selling movement. We've had a little bit of bottoming here. Today was a mainly flat selling day. If we'll go and have a look close, it didn't really buy into the close, maybe a tiny bit. Having a look, we haven't had any extra hedging. We've had quite a lot of new longer positions open, in not a lot, but a few longer positions open as we're going through this OPEX. We've seen DPI rise a little bit, and basically it's just following a hedging after this quite good accumulation. It's still very low, it's down in the 33, but it's still amber, it's not going to drive the market. So just looking here at Amazon, last of the mags, there's a little bit of buying into the close, not enough that it's really talk about. It's just enough to see. It's just enough to see. Oh. Alright, I'm just going to quickly, sorry about that bit of quiet there. Just hiding my mic for the coffee time. Bit of buying into the close, generally a buying day, but it's oscillating. Let's just have a look what it says in the options. You can see it's a little bit greener here. We've seemed to have found a bottom around this 220 mark. I haven't actually, let's just have a look back and see what that looks like. Let's go for 4 hours and see what that looks like. So there is quite a strong, it's probably down at the 762 of this fib, so it's probably a strong one. Yeah, it's just hitting that very strong fib down the bottom. If we had a look at it, it's just trying to hang on to this volume node here and not get out of it. And look, it's been well supported there. And you can see that we've come back into a green area again. So look, it does look pretty good on that timescale. It's had quite a good bottoming. It's holding it rather than staying as it did here in a selling position last week. So let's just have a look what that looked like, see whether that we can see any more of it. We can see it's had a little bit of closing, not a huge amount, but much more than we've had. That drop down in price put us into a new area of pain. So I can't see that we're going to have much of a buy in there. Let's just have a look. Oh no, we've definitely got rising DPI. It's only up to 31, but it is better than where it was. So, and we can see these are looking better. It's very heavy though. It's only just pulled out of that top. Be interesting to see what it does. Anyway, I just put those details down. I don't think it's green yet. It's still just amber.